This is a 2004 Doyle Dykes Signature model Taylor. If you don't know who Doyle Dykes is, you ought to look him up. He's a great finger picker, outstanding guitarist. And this is a signature guitar that Taylor made years ago. They no longer make them. And it's, I think, arguably the greatest acoustic electric that Taylor ever produced. And here's the main reason I think that this is such a great sounding guitar plugged in. It has these saddles that are individual saddles for each string pickups. Each one has a hot and ground wired into a junction box, and then you've got the preamp for them. Baggs no longer makes these pickups. It's called the Baggs Hex Saddle Pickup, and you won't find any of them for sale. They've all been taken because they are so precious and valuable. But these pickups were made for this guitar. I have a set of them in my Taylor 414 that I installed in 2010. So I've had them in my guitar for a long time. I bought a set of them back when they were still available. And I've run them passive. They're plenty hot, even passive. And I've run them with a preamp. And they work very well. Beautiful guitar. And this one has the strap pin located here. But somebody had a strap pin on the heel also. I guess somebody wanted to locate one there, so there's a hole there also, which I'm going to fill. And there's a white rose that's inlaid on the headstock. And this neck will be coming off because we're going to do a refret. My customer wants a stainless steel refret on this guitar. So I'm going to match the factory size fret wire and put stainless in here. Notice it's got the thumb markers like you'll see on the Gretsch Chet Atkins guitars, inspired by that. And let's take a look. Oh yeah, beautiful guitar. Flip this over. Take a look at it. Yeah, man. Look at that. Look at that book match. Wow. Really nice. Beautiful. And also going to put a set of hip shot tuners on this for the customer as well. So stainless steel frets replacing the tuners. And I have a neck jig for Taylor guitars, so I'm going to take this neck off. I'm going to unbolt it, and we're going to see what's inside also. Now currently this guitar has got action that's way too low, even with relief in the truss rod. And the reason for that is that these saddles are too low. These should have, under each one, two very tiny Allen screws, and we're going to remove these and find out, but they should have these height adjustments under them. Hopefully the screws are still in there, they haven't been lost or anything, so we're going to be able to dial in the action on each individual string. That's another thing that's really great about these. And notice also that they've got them placed from the factory in the intonated points. That is really a tremendous idea. I don't know how you could get any better than that for an acoustic guitar pickup. And with that preamp, man, that's really nice. It sounds tremendous right now, but the action's way too low. And we're going to fix that in the refret and the setup. Interestingly, this guitar has a 24 and 7/8 scale, not quite a 24 3/4, but a 24 and 7/8 scale. It also has a 1 3/4 width nut and a thin neck. The neck feels thin. It doesn't feel like a normal tailor neck. And for my hands, the neck feels fantastic. I don't know if everybody would like this neck, but I think the neck feels great. And 24 and 7/8 scale, I kind of dig that. In an acoustic guitar, it's got a real short reach. So let's take it apart and see what's inside. All right, now I have the neck unbolted from the body, and notice there's no expression system pickup under the fingerboard extension like with a lot of tailors with pickups. These were really the best pickups I think ever made for acoustic guitar. Shame that Baggs doesn't make them anymore. Really is. But when they quit making this model, there was no point in making the pickups anymore, they figured, I guess. But there's the neck joint, which is just a regular Taylor 3-bolt neck joint. You have 2 bolts here that go into metal bushings, and then you've got 1 3/16 Allen that bolts the fingerboard extension down. And so I'm going to put this neck now in my Taylor neck jig. And this is my acoustic guitar neck jig that I built so that I could not only refret a Taylor neck unbolted from the guitar, but any acoustic guitar neck that, like if I do a neck reset with a refret, I'll put it in this thing, strap it down, and I've got it with the Taylor. I can bolt it back here. I've got the bolt actually going through this block, holding that on. Up here I've got a little lockdown tie, keeps it all stable, allows me to remove the frets and work with the frets with the neck away from that body. So this is handy, let me tell you. And also I made it so that I could adjust the angle of the neck rest as well as the height of the fingerboard extension prop, I guess is what you'd call it. And I got it bolted to the desk, and I've got my trusty soldering gun that I've modified with a U-shaped tip. I cut that out so that I can rest it on the fret wire, and you've seen me in other videos heat up the fret wire and remove frets from an ebony fingerboard. So we have to get these really hot and be very careful how we remove them, because this is ebony and it's very chippy. Alright, I've got the first 6 frets removed, and pretty good luck on avoiding the chip outs as those frets came out. I did have to heat them quite a bit, so far so good. One of the things I wanted to point out about these frets is that they're extremely low. I mean, they remind me of the speed frets, that's so-called, that were on the old Gibson guitars, that you could get a Gibson with a fingerboard and the frets were almost like metal lines sticking up out of the wood of the fingerboard. I mean, you could hardly feel them. Well, these are kind of like that. I don't know if Doyle had his guitars made that way or not, but this is not from wear necessarily. This is actually the way these frets are. They are very, very low. Somebody could have dressed them down like that, but I think that they probably are like that from the factory, that these speed frets are sort of preferred possibly in his signature guitar. I don't know for sure, but those are some low frets. I mean, they are the factory frets, and they are really down. So we're going to put some fret wire in here that gives these more height for better playing. And the frets are now done. Quite an improvement over what was in there. I used a 0.104 to 0.048 crown on this fret wire. This is the fret wire size I use, which is a little larger than I wanted to use, but the problem with using a small fret wire is that the tangs, the barb, was too narrow for the slot that the factory had made. The fret wire that was in there had a pretty fat slot, even though it was so low and so small. So I put what I call the low wides in there, which is like a low medium jumbo, I guess is the way I would describe it. And some of my favorite fret wire to use. This thing should really play great when I'm finished, and I'm going to make a nice new bone nut for it too. Alright, so now we've got the DDSM, the Doyle Dykes Signature Taylor guitar, complete. There's my bone nut and the refret. These frets are a great improvement over those speed frets that were on here. There was not enough fret there for me to play, I can tell you that. The compensated saddles, a great little preamp. And one more thing that I'm going to do to this guitar, a customer brought me a pick guard for it, which is going to go about like that right there. So that's one little touch that I'm going to be adding to it after this video.
Great guitar.